بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته يا إخوان. And first and foremost, we'd like to welcome you to Masjid-Quba in Leicester, and on behalf of Markaz-as-Sunnah Leicester, who have arranged this event, we welcome you. Jazakumullahu khairan kathira for attending. The title of today's lecture is The Deviance of Belief in Wahdatul-Wujood. The deviance of the belief in the concept of Wahdatul-Wujood. And our speaker is our Ustad Ali Hassan Khan, who we had speak with us last time, for those of you who attended and those of you who saw it on the internet also. MashaAllah, the lecture was very beneficial. And this is a continuation or a part two, if you like, to that lecture, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. I was requested to give a brief introduction about the topic and why we're actually discussing it. Why do we choose these titles? Because some people feel that it's strange why we choose these topics to talk about. Obviously, we know that al-aqidah, the creed which a person holds, and specifically for the Muslim, is the most important part of their religion. And it's the foundation, the usul of their deen. So naturally, issues pertaining to it are delicate, and errors therein are detrimental. And this is evident in so many ayat and ahadith in our deen. It's an evident concept. One of the most famous of the ayat is إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَغْفِرُ أَن يُشْرَكَ بِهِ. Indeed, Allah, He does not forgive that He be committed shirk with. He does not forgive this. وَيَغْفِرُ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ لِمَن يَشَاءُ. And He forgives anything other than this to whoever He wishes. So if we know that things which lead to deviation and shirk in our religion is the only thing which is not forgiven and is the most detrimental thing for the Muslim, then naturally a sincere Muslim will yearn to learn how to protect himself from or herself from these things. This issue of Wahdatul-Wujood, which can be translated as the unity of existence or the unity of presence maybe, is it's something which is propagated the world over and has been for some time. And specifically to us, it is propagated and believed in our city, Leicester, and in the UK generally. And it is something which is propagated both secretly, hidden in a hidden sense, and also openly. It is not something which is not believed in and not heard of. It is a real thing, and it's being propagated. The du'at who wish to clarify this erroneous belief do not do so in order to make trouble. Rather, it becomes binding upon them to clarify these kind of issues when incorrect and erroneous beliefs are propagated. It becomes binding upon them. So those who first propagate it leave the du'at no choice but to clarify these issues. Our Ustad inshallah will explain its meaning in depth and why it's so dangerous. Another point that I'd like to make before we begin is that, Ikhwan, the truth is the truth. The haqq is the haqq, regardless of where it comes from. And unless a person has a shari'i reason to not take knowledge from an individual or from a certain group or a certain masjid, a shari'i, genuine sharia granted reason not to take ilm from that person or that organization or that masjid or whatever it may be, then the truth is the truth, and it's binding upon the Muslim to accept it from wherever it comes. I say this because after these kind of lectures, not only us, but the world over, comments are often made that people tend to make personal attacks and digs on the organization or the masjid or the community, or even sometimes, unfortunately, the individual who gives da'wah pertaining to these kind of issues. This is not what a sincere Muslim in search of the truth would do. A sincere Muslim in search of the truth will, insha'Allah, and this is a nasiha to myself and all of us, to look for the truth and be open and unbiasedly searching for the truth. Not mocking and making issues which are side issues and not directly related to the topic at hand. Rather, a sincere Muslim, and inshallah we will all be that, will be brothers and will be in search of whatever the haqq is from wherever it comes. Like the Salaf would say, and many of the scholars they say, Al-haqqu la yu'raf bil-rijal, that the truth is not known by men, walakin yu'raf al-rijalu bil-haqq. That it's the other way around, that men are in fact known by the truth. So on this note, inshallah, we'll hand over to our brother, our Ustad Ali Hassan. The lecture will continue up until, for maybe an hour or a bit more than that. And then inshallah there'll be a chance for a few limited questions and answers bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. We also have some free literature to be given out as well at the end of the talk. So for those that remain, inshallah you will get some free literature also. Barakallahu feekum, and I pray that it's beneficial for all of us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Amma ba'd. Dear brothers and sisters, for those who have attended the previous lecture, this is the second part of the refutation of the Deobandi Maulana Mumtazul Haq. He did a lecture on YouTube about Allah being present everywhere, and he mocked the Salafi and the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, the Ahlul Hadith, saying they believe Allah is above the arsh. This is totally falsehood. Allah is present everywhere. And then in my first part I've refuted all his arguments, even shown that the tafsir of the Quran he did was refuted even by the tafsir of the Deobandi Alim, Mufti Muhammad Shafi Deobandi and others. So he did a far-fetched even alteration of the text, far-fetched interpretation of the religious text to justify Allah was present everywhere with the creation by His essence and was not above the arsh. So in the introduction I've mentioned that the reason behind this creed is the creed of Wahdatul-Wujood. You see, because we have to understand this. And this is why these people are propagating the creed that Allah is present everywhere. Wahdatul-Wujood, it means the unity of existence. These people believe that there is only one existence, which is the existence of Allah. To believe in two existences is shirk. If you say there is a creation and the creator, according to the Tawheed, which they also call Tawheed Wujudi, you are a mushrik because you are establishing two different essences. For them there's only one existence. Whoever established two existences according to their definition of Tawheed is a mushrik. So I'm going to do, last time I did a short introduction to explain that this comes from a Batini movement. You see how it started, this Batini movement, how it spread, how much influence of Greek philosophy there is in it. Mansur ibn Hussein al-Hallaj propagated it, died. And so I'm going to do as well, before entering into the topic, I'm going to do a short introduction as well. And I'm going to, in the introduction, mention, some of the important points you should notice. So last time, because like Zulfikar told me in Leicester, you have maybe some small Deobandi, I think Muhammad ibn Adam al-Kawthari, they're saying Allah is neither above the arsh nor anywhere else. And they try to portray that this is the creed of Deoband. But this is not the creed of the elders of Deoband. Last time I read the fatwa, which is on the official webpage, deoband.org. On the Darul Ifta, it was the question number 32642. The muftis of Darul Ulum Deoband, they were asked, is Allah present everywhere? And the answer was, जी हाँ अल्लाह ताला हर जगह है, जी हाँ एक ही वक्त में हर जगह मौजूद है और अल्लाह ताला हर चीज़ में मौजूद है. You see, Allah is present everywhere, at the same time present everywhere, and in everything. Allah is present in everything. And this is well known definition of the elders of Deoband. So if you see, when you meet Deobandis, they say, we don't believe in this, our local mufti, he says Allah is neither above the arsh nor everywhere. This represents his own opinion research, his own opinion belief. This is not the belief of the elders of Deoband, those who are running Darul Uloom Deoband or the school of thought. This might be an individual opinion, but this is not the opinion of the Deobandi elders. The Deobandi elders' opinion is, like told on their webpage, Allah is present everywhere. So, I mean, sometimes I'm not saying they might do taqiyya, because, I mean, but what you should know is that the Batini people, they use taqiyya in their religion. They say, because the common man, if we tell the truth, we will be killed like Hallaj. So that even some of the Deobandi who became Ahlul Hadith in Pakistan, they used to say, when people come to question us, you can see on YouTube some lectures of Deobandi who became, they're sitting with Sheikh Talibun Rahman Shah Muhammadi, and they became Ahlul Hadith, and they say yes. Even in the Mamati one, the brothers who are from Pakistan know the difference between the Hayati and the Mamati, meaning the Hayati, they seek assistance from the dead. They said the dead didn't die, he's only hidden in the grave, but he's not dead. And they seek benefit from the grave. And the Mamati, those who are in the Peshawar region, they say no, the dead is dead, and he can't hear and he can't give us spiritual benefit. But even in the Mamati one, the problem of Wahdatul-Wujood is present. You see, when they come, they're faced with Ibn Arabi, Abdul Rahman al-Jami, all the Naqshbandi or the Chisti people who believe in Wahdatul-Wujood. The person who became Ahlul Hadith, he said they deny in front of the public, or they try to, you see, say, escape the question, or say, oh, it's too complicated, we can't answer, but they said behind, they do not deny. So that is a real problem, you see. You have to come clear on the topic of Wahdatul-Wujood. So sometimes some of them might do taqiyya. I'm not saying everybody does taqiyya, but it is a Batini movement, meaning they say secretive knowledge, like last time I have read it, I'm going to read it again. They believe there is a secret hidden knowledge which is only for the elite of the people, which should not be spread. He said, if you tell to layman or everyone, you can be killed. So you should keep the secret only for people who are qualified with this blessing. It's not for everyone. So we've seen what is the official position of Darul Uloom Deoband. Now, now in the introduction, I'm going to just mention some points. Because the Deobandi Maulana Mumtazul Haq, like I've told you, there was a brother in London, Suel Patel. He became from Deobandi he became Mashallah Ahlul Hadith. And he texted last time Maulana Mumtazul Haq and asked him about Wahdatul-Wujood. Ibn Arabi said, yeah, Wahdatul-Wujood is true. Ibn Arabi is a wali. And he said, why you don't want not to debate? Let's say a dialogue. We sit together, we say, okay, this is written in Fusus al-Hikam. What is your explanation of Pharaoh dying upon Iman, the disbelievers going to, being drawn not in the hellfire, but ocean of knowledge, and all the other issues with Fusus al-Hikam? And he didn't want to. He said, there's no point, there's no benefit. So, and then the brother Suel Patel, he said, he told Maulana Mumtazul Haq, he texted him saying, look, the brother Hassan Khan is going to lecture about Wahdatul-Wujood, and he says, Maulana Mumtazul Haq, still the lies of the Salafis. Okay, so inshallah today, because normally you see they say we're lying, not only I have Fusus al-Hikam with two explanation, but I also have quotes from Hanafi scholars, Mullah al-Qari, who was a great Hanafi muhaddis and scholar, Sa'd Taftazani, who is well known among the Ahnaf. They study his book of Creed, Shara Qaid Nasafiyah. And there are many other Hanafi scholars like Badruddin Aini who've condemned Fusus al-Hikam. Even have quotes from Taqiyuddin Subki, and one of his sons, because Deobandi Breadwills love Subki and his book Ashifa, he also condemned Ibn Arabi and his Kufar, and his son Bahauddin Subki, he used to burn the book Fusus al-Hikam in his madrasa in Egypt. So it's not a problem of the Salafis, it's the Shafi'i, the Hanafi, the Ashari, Maturidi scholars, many of them. You see, it's not only Ibn Hajar or the student of Ibn Taymiyyah, Zahabi, Ibn Kathir, or Ibn al-Qayyim Jawziyah, Ibn Sayyid al-Nas, like they can say, oh, it's only Salafis. It is Asharis, Maliki, Hanafis, and Shafi'is great scholars. Like the Subkis, like Hafiz Ibn Hajar, his student Sakhawi wrote a big book against Ibn Arabi, and we're going to quote a lot from it. his student Sakhawi, Hafiz Sakhawi is well-known muhaddis, he has lots of books on Mustalah al-Hadith. He quoted hundreds of scholars condemning Ibn Arabi. And you have the teacher of Ibn Hajar, Siraj al-Balqini, then you have Abu Hayyan al-Andalusi, you have, these are the main scholars known to condemn them. You have many others, Al-Aiz ibn Abd al-Salam, Ibn Daqiq al-Aid from the Ashari school of thought. So, I mean, will Mumtaz ul-Haq say these scholars are liars as well? Mullah al-Qari, Badruddin Aini and all others? Or why he's, I mean, they have a fixation again. Listen to the proofs. Look, come together, let's sit down, open Fusus al-Hikam. If we're false, we will correct ourselves. If you have a potential good explanation of it, we will say we're mistaken. You see, we're not stubborn, we don't believe we're immune, we're infallible, we can't make any mistake like the Shia, we're ma'soom from any errors, or we're wahi from Allah. We said these are the quotes of Fusus al-Hikam. These are not only Salafi scholars, Ibn Taymiyyah, these are your own Hanafi scholars saying this book is kufr. You see, Sa'ad Taftazani, he even said, he has a book written against Fusus al-Hikam. He said, doing jihad, speaking against Ibn Arabi, is as great as doing jihad against the kuffar. You see, this is not Salafi scholars, this is your own great scholar. You study his book of creed in your madaris. So, I mean, we have to stop being muta'assib to our school of thought. Oh no, this and that, this is lie. First examine, read. If what I'm saying is false, then you can refute me. You can email me if you don't want to meet me. But you should not say, oh, these are lies, propaganda, and running away from any. But let's say dialogue. We're not going to say debate, munazara, and cursing each other. But, I mean, come to the truth. If you have a dalil, do mujadala billati ahsan. You see, speak which nice speak, and say, okay, the Salafis are wrong, Ibn Arabi is a wali, that's the reason. A, B, C, and D, email us, and we will inshallah see what's your explanation. But this is what these people are. I mean, not only they believe in it, they want to keep it secret, they don't want to talk about it in front of the layman, because what they hide in the khanqa, their zavia, their secret places of worship, the temples or whatever you call them. I mean, Prophet ﷺ, he established, the first thing he went to Medina, he established a masjid. He didn't establish the khanqa where they isolate. You see all the rahbaniyah they have invented, which is also taken from the Christian and the Greek. You see self-mortification, they do 40 days hidden in their khanqas and whatever they have. Self-torturing rahbaniyah, they have invented rules in the khanqa. Who taught them these rules? The Prophet, he went to Medina, he didn't establish a khanqa, he established a masjid. You want to do i'tikaf, you do it in the masjid. You want to do worship, tilawah, zikr, whatever, you do it in the masjid. You see, even poor people used to live in the masjid, but they have established a parallel system to the Sharia called a tariqah. And there is a secret speech there, and there is a general speech in the masjid, or the madaris is for fiqh, hadith, Arabic, and here is a secret knowledge. And they go step by step. You see, like in all secret societies, the beginners, you see, they're not told the secret. Only when they climb after many years, they start being delusional, and you see, believing in all the fairy tales and the superstition. Then they go to the next level. You see, they don't start straight away with someone who's just starting, okay, this is the truth. So that's for I mean, my message for Maulana Mumtaz ul-Haq, you see. If you don't want to debate, stop at least saying we are liars. And then, I mean, the brother Suhail Patel, he said, I've spoken to some Deobandi Maulanas, and they say, they give some strange explanation of, this is what we believe in Wahdatul-Wujood, we don't believe this. You see, I mean, you can't, if you want to explain Wahdatul-Wujood, you see, you have to answer the specific allegations. You can't just say, oh, this is our metaphorical meaning, and then you run away from explaining what is in Fusus al-Hikam or in the books of your elders, you see. This is like running away from explaining and saying, this is our meaning. This is not enough. And this is why, I mean, when the brothers are going to meet Deobandis, or in my lecture, these are some points they should remember, and ask them when they meet Deobandis and whatever. You see, because some of them might do taqiyah, and they're going to give a definition of Wahdatul-Wujood which is not recorded in their books or elsewhere. So we say, if the meaning is metaphorical of Wahdatul-Wujood, you don't mean that there's only one essence, there's only one existence. What some of them are going to say, They're going to say our existence is borrowed and given by Allah. Okay. His existence is on his own, meaning Allah's existence is independent, ours is dependent from Allah's. So in this meaning, there's only one real being, which is Allah's, and our is weak, borrowed, dependent on Allah, so we consider it like inexistent. But it's metaphorical speech. Then, if this is everybody believes, all the Muslims should believe in it. You see, if our life is dependent, existence is dependent from Allah's power and Qudra, yes, everybody should believe this. But if this is your meaning of Wahdatul-Wujood, then why is there a need of secrecy? Why do you need to hide it? Why do you write in your book there is sacred knowledge, you see? If this is meaning, you should proclaim it openly. This is our meaning of Wahdatul-Wujood. The creation is dependent from Allah, so this is the meaning of Wahdatul-Wujood. And there wouldn't be any debate, there wouldn't need to be any scandal. You see, why then Abu Hamid Ghazali in his book Mishkatul Anwar, there's many, I'm going to quote them, they say it's a secret. And they say revealing the secret of lordship is kufr. You see, if this was the meaning of Wahdatul-Wujood, why revealing the secret will be kufr? Even in his Ihya Ulumuddin, Ghazali says some of the agnostics, meaning Arif, the saints, or those who have reached their level, they say if the secrets of lordship, you see, were revealed, this will cancel the Sharia. You see, so they have a secret, they shouldn't tell it to everyone, revealing to everyone is kufr, and if it was revealed to everyone, it will cancel the Sharia. You see, so if your meaning is metaphorical, why do you need to hide it? Everybody should believe in it. Another point, Anwar Shah Kashmiri, who is the greatest muhaddis, in his book Faizul Bari, which is an explanation of Sahih al-Bukhari, he speaks about Wahdatul-Wujood, and he speaks about the hadith which says, I become the eye by which he sees. You see, the one who does a lot of famous hadith, lots of nawafil, Kuntu samu ladhi yasma'u bihi, I am the hearing by which he hears, I am the hand by which he holds, I am the foot by which he walks. All the scholars, like not only Ibn al-Qayyim Jawziyya, Ibn Taymiyyah, but also Badruddin Aini, Hafiz Ibn Hajar, they all say it means he sees by Allah's help, he walks by Allah's protection, he holds by Allah's help and tawfiq. This is even their own scholars, but he says, no, for me, this hadith shows the belief of Wahdatul-Wujood. Then he starts up explaining this hadith according to the belief of Wahdatul-Wujood, that his human source is taken from his body, and there's only remaining, Allah is controlling the body, and this, whatever. But then at the end, he says, some of the mashayikh were strict in the belief of Wahdatul-Wujood, but I am not. Meaning, if you want to believe in it, it's okay. If you don't believe, it's okay. So if your meaning is metaphorical, everybody should believe in it. It shouldn't be left up, okay, you want to believe in Wahdatul-Wujood, you're a Muslim. If you don't want to believe in Wahdatul-Wujood, you're still a Muslim. But okay, the one believing Wahdatul-Wujood is better. No. If Wahdatul-Wujood is the real existence which is independent is Allah, and the other existence is dependent from Allah, then this believing in it is kufr. You see? And also, why do you need to have a separate name for it? Tawhid Wujudi or Wahdatul-Wujood. We believe Allah is the only creator. The creation also creates, transforms. But we don't call it Wahdatul Khaliq, Aqidah Wahdatul Khaliq. We believe Allah is the only sustainer. We don't make a separate creed for it. You see, if you believe Allah's existence is independent, you don't need to make a separate creed. But okay, they've made this creed, they keep it secret, and then they say also, some of them, if you don't believe in it, you're still a Muslim, which is, if it was taught by the Prophet ﷺ, not believing in it would be kufr. But they say, no, it's left on your own. And then, inshallah, while I'm quoting the quote, I will first point out, before going in Fusus al-Hikam, all the similarities in this creed between the creed of Wahdatul-Wujood and the creed of the Greek philosophers and the Christians. If this was an Islamic authentically reported from the Salaf, from the Sahaba, from the Tabi'i, from the Prophet ﷺ, why? It has Greek words in it, like the first intelligence, like I've told you in my previous lecture, they believe the Ruh Muhammadi from its emanation all the universe works. You see, this concept of emanation is a Greek concept of the Plato, Aristotle and others. So they use the first intelligence, al-aql al-awwal, al-aql al-ula. You see, they have this Greek, even Abu Hamid Ghazali, his book, lots of even Muslims, they said first he started to refute the Greek philosophers, like the Hafut al-Falsafa and then Fadai al-Batin, he refuted them, but then when he entered Sufism, he accepted some of the principles of Ibn Sina and other philosophers, and he mixed up. You see, even, it's not only the Salafi, the Maliki Ashari scholars, Al-Maziri, Al-Wahanshiri, they condemned Ihya Ulumuddin, and in Spain they burned Ihya Ulumuddin, you see, because it had all these terms taken from Greek philosophy, and then he explains the concept, saying, oh, it is forbidden to disclose more on this topic. If it's true, what is forbidden to? We're going to see in this book as well. Mishkatul Anwar, he speaks at the end, or he said disclosing more in this book is forbidden. If it's Islam, why do you want to forbid it if it's beneficial for the creature? The Prophet ﷺ didn't leave anything. He left his religion clear. It's night like it's day, you see. So this is the Batini concept. We're going to see, and then, like I've said, anybody who's talking to the Wandi Maulana, why the special consequences told by Ibn Arabi that those who have worshipped idol only worshipped Allah. Those who worship the calf, who follow the Samiri, they were open truth. And why? This is the consequence of the creed. You see, because Abu Hamid Ghazali and others, you see, they say it's forbidden to speak in detail. It should only be told from mouth to mouth. But I'm only going to do by hinting to it. You see, making allusions. But Ibn Arabi, what he did, he spoke without, hinting. He spoke clearly. You see, Fir'aun died upon Iman. Those who worship idols only worshipped Allah. And this is why you find more takfir of Ibn Arabi than obviously of Ghazali and others, because these people, when they saw what happened to Mansur ibn Hussein al-Hallaj, you see, they use their method of just teaching it privately, but making allusions to it, hints to it. Obviously, Ibn Arabi, he spoke to it openly, and that's why you find hundreds of scholars doing takfir of Ibn Arabi. But this is the school of thought. Some will speak, they will take precautions, others they won't fear, and those who die for their cause, like Al-Halaj, they will call him martyr, he's a shaheed, because he disclosed the secrets, and others were afraid, and others. So these are all the matters you need to know about Wahdatul-Wujood. So first of all, obviously we're going to start, inshallah, I'm going to speak about this book at the end if I have time, because I want to do Fusus al-Hikam first. But this book, Mishkatul Anwar, The Niche of Light, is a book of Abu Hamid al-Ghazali. Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah says this book is like the source of the people of Wahdatul-Wujood. Kal-unsur al-ittihadiyin al-qailina bi Wahdatul-Wujood. It's like their source. Because lots of the stuff that you will see in Fusus al-Hikam is taken from Mishkatul Anwar, the niche of lights of Abu Hamid Ghazali. But what he will be hinting to, Ibn Arabi will say it openly. And there's lots of, he's going to say in this book, Allah is greatest, but Allahu Akbar doesn't mean Allah is the greatest. It means He's too great to be compared. Because to be greatest, you need to have two essences. One is greater to the other, but there's only one essence, so it doesn't mean Allah is greater. It means He's too great to be compared to anyone. And Ibn Arabi says the same in Fusus al-Hikam. Allah is greater than who? There's nothing else in existence. Then he carries on. He's no other. He's known by all the names, by all the things. He's known, and he's also known by the name of Abu Sa'id al-Kharraz, a famous Sufi. So this same other quotes taken from this book, Ibn Arabi take the same and expand on it. In this book, he's going to say this, when Ibrahim alayhi salam saw the stars and said, Hada Rabbi, then they did the sun, the moon, and then the stars. He said, actually, what Ibrahim saw were lights of angels. And it is, we can call them, according to Arabic language, we can call them Rabb. Because in Arabic language, Rabb also means owner. Like you said, Rabbul Sil'a, the owner of the propriety, Rabbul Mal, the owner. So he says, okay, you can call them lords. According to this, so what actually Ibrahim al-Salam saw was angels' lights, reflection of emanation of angels, which reflect upon human bodies. And then Ibn Arabi says the same about Firaun. When Firaun said, Ana Rabbukum al-A'la, this is true. Rabb also has the, you see, he took the same concept. Rabb also means owner, so Firaun was their ruler. So according to this concept, he was their owner. So this is also taken from the niche of lights. Obviously, Ibn Taymiyyah is going to say, we don't know obviously if Ibn Arabi, if Ghazali died upon it. Some people deny it, but I mean, most of the scholars, obviously, it belongs to Abu Hamid al-Ghazali. The Sufi ascribed to him. In his book, he refers to other of his books. And in other of his books, he's referring to his book. So this book, obviously, it has the mazhab of Wahdatul-Wujood. So I'm just going to quote at the beginning, just some lines of it. So he says at the beginning, one of the Gnostics has said, to divulge the mystery of lordship is unbelief. You see, in Arabic, ifsha'u sirr rububiyyah kufr. Disclosing, divulging, to divulge the mystery of lordship is unbelief. Then he says, I'm only going to be hinting in this book. But this is the Batini religion, you see, like I've told you before. And we're going to see at the end, it has Greek concepts, it has really, like, you see, like I've explained, that they have this concept of the Greek, basically what they believe, that God, obviously, he created the first thing he created was al-aql. It is a fabricated hadith. Some people invented it. Ibn Jawzi, all of the scholars have put it in the books of fabricated a hadith. And they said the first thing Allah created was al-aql. And from it, you see, from its emanation, he went to the second intelligence, then they have 10 intelligence, and they believe, you see, their emanation makes the thing move and work. And obviously the Sufi, like I've explained in my last lecture, I'm not gonna, they said this first intelligence is the soul of the Prophet. They said, and then they have invented the hadith of Jabir, the first thing Allah created is the soul of the Prophet ﷺ, and from its emanation, all the universe came into existence, and it works as well by the emanation. So it is a Greek concept. And we're gonna see at the end, he's gonna speak as well about the ruh of Muhammad, and there is a semi-divine element making the universe work. So it is a book filled with Greek philosophy and strange concepts. So, I mean, obviously I have the books with me because the main thing is this. I mean, if you quote and you don't quote the exact word, they're going to say, oh, you've changed the word from the book. It changes the meaning. So that's why it takes a little bit longer, but I like to take the books, take the time to open them, because it's a serious topic, you see. When we buy a computer, we check all the details, we read all the computer stuff, memory, and we want the best deal. So about the deen, we should be careful about the words, not to attribute someone he didn't say, because it's a serious matter, you see, it's not a joke. So this is Malfuzat of Hakim al-Ummah, Hakim of the Deobandi Ummah, Ashraf Ali Thanvi. It is his book Malfuzat, published by the Deobandi. It's a volume 7. He writes in his Malfuzat 360, Asrar Batina ke ikhwa ki misal, meaning an example about hiding Asrar Batini, the hidden secret knowledge. He's saying, एक सिलसिला गुफ्तगू में फरमाया कि असरार बातिनी के अख्वा की बड़ी जबरदस्त ताकीद है. So about this topic, I mean, it is strengthened to hide the batini secrets, the hidden secrets. इसे जैसे अपनी दुल्हन अगयार को दिखलाने से गैरत आती है. इसे like you don't like to show your wife to others, you see, you like to keep it secret, her face. Same about Tawheed, what they call Tawheed al-Wujudi, he gave this example. इसी तरह में गैरत आती है असरार आराइज बातिनी है. He said that these secrets of your wife are secrets, you don't like to show them to anyone else. Likewise, the religious knowledge, what they call the asrar batini, this is the comparison he gave. You don't want to show them to anyone. Obviously, not anyone else. It's not allowed. So this is the tawhid. This is the aqidah. This is for them the cream of the elite of the elite. This is the tawhid, and they say you should hide it like you like to hide the secrets of your wife. So this is from their own books. You see, they can't say. Even Abu Hamid Ghazali, because you see, Ashraf Ali Thanvi, in his Malfuzat, he's taking a lot from, Ibn Taymiyyah said, هذا الكتاب كالعنصر الاتحاديين. This book is like the source. Even Ashraf Ali Thanvi, he quotes a lot from this book of Abu Hamid Ghazali. You see, he said, and then he quotes a fabricated hadith after. He said, indeed, the master of the first and last, the Prophet ﷺ said, there is a kind of knowledge like the guise of the hidden. None knows it except the knowers of God. Meaning only the saints knows this knowledge. When they speak of it, none denies it except those who are arrogantly deluded about God. So it's a fabricated hadith. It's not referred to any book. It's one of the, you see, they have their own fabricated. Sometimes they say, maybe a hadith might be, like Ibn Arabi said, weak according to the Sharia, but they have their own ways by kashf to authenticate hadith. So this is one of this type. And last time I read from the book Irshad al-Muluk of Rashid Ahmad Gangohi, who is I've explained, the second Imam of the Deobandi group. He translated into Urdu, then it was translated into English by the South African Majlis Ulama. And he also spoke about the secret knowledge. They also quoted secret hadith. He said, some of the meaning knowledge of the Prophet ﷺ is general for the elite and the laity, the knowledge of the command and prohibition. On the other hand, some of his knowledge is exclusive for the khawas. You see? And then they quoted the hadith of attributing to Hazrat Ali. Rasulullah ﷺ taught me 70 such avenues of knowledge he did not teach to others. So, Ashraf Ali Thanvi, Rashid Ahmad Gunga, Abu Hamid Ghazali, and many others. Like I've got a book of Ibn Ajiba, he's a Darqawi Sufi. He also speaks about keeping the secret. You should not reveal to anyone. If you speak, you're going to be killed by, like Al-Hallaj was killed. So this is how much they protect the Tawheed. You see? So, obviously if I have time, I'll read at the end. Even Abdulaziz al-Dabbagh, who is a great, they consider him as a Ghaus. All the Tijanis, the Shadhilis, the Qadiri, the Naqshbandis, they consider him as a saint. And his book Al-Ibriz, they consider it as a holy book, you see. In his book, he also speaks about keeping this secret, and he's telling an anecdote, a story. He's saying that, you have to test your student before giving them secrets. And once he's telling a story that he told his student to go out, and then he was with another one, and then he's taken the blood of a sheep, put on the other. He told him to play a drama, you see, to test the other student. And he put blood on his body of a sheep. And when his student came back, he said, oh, look, okay, I've killed this one. And now you should hide, because you see, you should obey the sheikh to have the secret knowledge. And he said, okay, you should help me burying this one. And the other one said, but it's haram to kill someone. I'm not going to help you. He ran away to the police and said, look, the sheikh killed someone. And they said, look, it was only pretext to stand up. He said, I was just playing your trick. He said, if you can't hold this secret, how am I supposed to tell you the secret of the lordship and this secret? So you see, he's giving an example. You should be ready to oppose the Sharia, then to receive the small secrets, and obviously the big secret of Wahdatul-Wujood and all that. So the Sufis have these many stories in which they teach their students that if you see your sheikh killing someone, he told you I've killed someone, bury his body, you should obey him. Because the sheikh can go against the Sharia. If once you brainwashed and you, because they also use black magic and others, you see, to trick the students, to make them they believe they've traveled to the Arsh or wherever. They use jinns and black magic. So this is a secretive religion, basically, like I've told last time. This is a Batini secretive religion. You see, we're dealing with a secret society. You have to do bay'ah, you have secret knowledge. It has all the stuff of proper secret society, secretive religion. So that's what we're dealing with. And sometimes when we speak to them and we say, look, someone like Mansour, like I've told you last time, he was the first, because I mean, it started obviously when they, you see, in this region of Iraq, because the Prophet ﷺ said, that's where the horn of shaitan comes, no shaitan will come. You see, the Brelvis like to quote this hadith against the Salafis. They say, oh, it's Najd. But obviously, I mean, the scholars, not only, there are many hadiths explaining that Najd here means Iraq. And as well, Ibn Umar, when he went to Hajj, like in Sahih Muslim, and the people asked him, the Iraqi asked him about killing mosquitoes. He said, you asked me about mosquitoes, you killed the great son of the Prophet, so meaning indirectly by telling him to come and then you abandoned him. So he told this to Iraqi, and then he said, that's what the Prophet told me, that the horns of the shaitan will appear. That's what the tribulations will come. So all like Ibn Hajar Nawawi, it's a well-known topic, that the Prophet, when he warned against this place where the fitna started, is Iraq. That's where the Khariji came. They killed Ali from there. The Mu'tazili, the Qadiri, all the sects who did not, they started from here. And the Batini Shias and the Batini, they started from here as well. They mixed up Greek philosophy, philosophy of the Zoroastrians, Sabians, many stuff, and they invented their religion of Wahdatul-Wujood and others. So obviously the first one who proclaimed it was Hussein ibn Mansur al-Hallaj, and he was killed. Obviously, the scholars, you see, they don't like to kill someone who claims to be a Muslim. They tested him if he's not insane. He wasn't insane, you see. But some of the Sufis and the Ubandis, they say, oh, but the Sufis, they said these words out of intoxication. You see, they're intoxicated. They're maghloob and whatever. They're not in their normal states. Okay, they can say this for Abu Yazid Bastami and others, because you see, he said, glory to me, how great is my status, whatever. They say, oh, he was intoxicated and whatever. But Mansur ibn Hussein al-Hallaj, he wrote a book to explain his creed. You can't say someone is writing a book or intoxicated, you see. You must have your intelligence to write a book. It's available online. It has been translated by Aisha Bile Darqawi Sufi. You can Google it, Tawasin of Hallaj, you read it. He said, my master is Iblis and Pharaoh. You see, he said, they didn't recant, I'm not going to recant. So, you see, you can't run away like this. You see, they like easy ways to run away. Oh, this is metaphorical. Hallaj, oh, he was intoxicated. Come on, he wrote a book. Jalaluddin Rumi, he wrote a book. All these people, Ibn Arabi, they wrote books. You see, then they have other techniques we're going to come. They have also the technique, they say, oh, but the Sufis, they have terminology which is not the literal meaning. It's that they have their own technical languages. Okay, let's say he meant Pharaoh died upon Iman and he meant something else, or he meant something else by praising the idol worshippers. He said it's good that they didn't abandon the idols. It's good that they didn't listen to Prophet Noor. Because had they left the idol worship, they would have left beneficial knowledge. Okay, if it has a meaning which is not literal, why the explanation, his students or the Sufis, great Sufi scholars, when they explain it, they don't say, oh, I cannot explain this, it has a secret meaning. No. We're going to see Abdurrahman al-Jami al-Naqshbandi. He's one of the favorite of the Deobandis, because obviously he's a Hanafi scholar. Abdul Ghani Nablusi, another Qadiri Naqshbandi Hanafi scholar. They've got books of Hanafi fiqh as well. When they explain these sayings of Ibn Arabi, they agree with it. And then they quote Abdul Ghani Nablusi. He wrote like 10-15 pages to explain that Pharaoh died upon Iman. Allah would have been unjust to punish him while he said the kalmah. And then he tried to do strange ta'wil. Like you see, it's not, they say, oh, I don't know what he means. He is going to bring verses from the Quran, Hadith, to explain that Allah is just, and he said the Shahada, Allah has saved him. And then when people, obviously because there's a Hadith in Sunan Tirmizi, which says that Jibril took sand and put it in the mouth of Pharaoh, fearing that maybe Allah would forgive him. They say, but in this hadith, it clearly tells that Jibril did this. He said, no, because look at the distortion of the text. He's saying Jibril knew that if he was saved and then he returned to his power, ghurur will enter his heart and he will then deny Allah again. So actually what Jibril did by putting mud in his mouth was, he's got iman, now it's good he dies upon iman. Astaghfirullah. He said, because he said, I want him to die upon iman, so I'm going to put mud to make sure Allah doesn't, because if he's forgiven, he might go to kufr again. Look at this stuff. You turn good into evil. I mean, but this is what Abdul Ghani Nablusi, 10, 15 pages, he said Pharaoh died as a believer. And this, just saying this, Sa'at Aftazani in his book, he said this is pure kufr. Kufr shani'. This is evil kufr. Because if you defend this kind of kufr, why Mirza Qadiani why you don't accept his explanation that last of prophet doesn't mean last, it means last prophet without Sharia. They're like Mirza Qadani, there can be other prophet, but they won't bring any new Sharia. So if you accept the ta'wil of Nablusi and others, and Ibn Arabi is also just a ta'wil, it's not kufr, then Mirza Qadani should be a believer for you because his ta'wilat are less than Ibn Arabi. I mean, there are clear verses. Allah tells in the Quran that He calls Pharaoh, and all the people, I mean, in all the cultures, is not anyone who's bad, tyrannical, they call him, oh, he's a Pharaoh, he's Pharaoh. I mean, everybody, the small kids, they know he's a bad person. But the people of Wahdatul-Wujood, they establish him as a mu'min. And it is a clear kufr because, I mean, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, many of the verses spoke about him. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even told in some verses that he left his body as a lesson for humankind to see what happens to the evildoers. So how can they do ta'wil of these verses? And many other verses, you see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, obviously they said, وَيَوْمَ تَقُومُ السَّاعَةُ أَدْخِلُوا آلَ فِرْعَوْنَ أَشَدَّ الْعَذَابِ. You see, they will be punished in this world, but on the judgment, Ala Fir'aun. They can say, oh, Ala Fir'aun is the family of Fir'aun. But if it didn't include Fir'aun, why Allah would say Ala Fir'aun only? And Surah Qaf, كَذَّبَتْ قَبْلَهُمْ قَوْمُ نُوحٍ وَأَصْحَابُ رَأْسِ وَثَمُودَ وَعَادُ وَفِرْعَوْنَ وَإِخْوَانُ لُوطٍ. You see, these people have lied, the people of Nuh, the people of Ras, Samud, Ad, Fir'aun. Allah said these people have lied. If they died upon Iman, why would Allah include Fir'aun in the liars? And Allah said, وَفَخَذَهُ اللَّهُ نَكَالَ الْآخِرَةَ وَالْأُولَى. We took him as an example. So what kind of example is left for someone who died upon Iman? So this is a pure, I mean, this is just to deny. Say Fir'aun died upon Iman is a kufr. Allah said, look, Allah described him as an enemy. يَخُذُوا عَدُوٌ لِي وَعَدُوٌ لَهُ. Where he said, Musa, my enemy, his enemy and my enemy will take him. Allah described him as my enemy. He gave his example to the people after he left his body for the people of after to see what is the bad end of the people who disobey him. And they said, no, he died upon Iman actually. So this is a worse kufr than the kufr of Mirza Qadani and whatever other people who have, I mean, ta'wil. If you allow this kind of ta'wil, then there's no kufr left in the world. So this is, I mean, just for the beginning, just to show that this is a secretive religion. Now we're going to see, I mean, before seeing Fusus al-Hikam and how Mullah al-Qari said this is pure kufr, his comments, we'll have to speak about the similarities between this creed and the creed of the Christians. Because what corrupted Christianity, I mean, if you listen to on YouTube, on debates, sometimes you'll hear debates between Unitarian Christians and Trinitarian. Unitarians, they're those who believe there's a prophet. Isa wasn't God, he was just a messenger sent. He was son of God metaphorically, but not really. He was sent on the authority of the Father, but he wasn't a real son. And the Unitarian Christians, and some of their debates on YouTube, there are many, and some of the lectures, they also say that in the first century, you say we don't find all this Trinitarian creed, the Holy Spirit, and it's after, with the influence of Greek terms entering the doctrine, Greek terms like substance, one substance with three persons, one God, one existence existing into three persons, and they say Isa alayhi salam is, they say Jesus has two wills, one human will, one divine will. So they say all these terms, substance, essence, you see, and will, these are all Greek terms. They're not known in the Hebrew language or the Syriac language. So even the Unitarian Christians, they say what corrupted their religion was the Greek influence of their fathers, because then it started as a religion in Palestine, but then it shifted its authority to Greece and then the Rome and whatever. So that was the influence of the Greek fathers. They use the term like logos. You see that there's a verse in the Bible like, at the beginning were the words, and then the words became flesh. You see, this also is a Greek, they use a Greek word, because the Bible, they only came into Greek language. You see, they don't have the original Hebrew or Assyriac language. So they have all these Greek words. So basically, I'm going to read you some of the... You see, so the Greek philosophy corrupted Christianity, and even the Sufism, they were corrupted by the Greek philosophy and the Christians. The Christian Trinitarians and others. Because what happened is in the 2nd, 3rd century, obviously they had debates in Syria and other places, Sham. And when they came with explanation, you see, they took some of their explanations into their own doctrine. Even you see the fitna of the Jahmiyyah, because the Mu'tazili, they debated Christians. And the Christian says, look, we believe Jesus is Kalimatullah. It is the speech of Allah. The speech of Allah is not created. You believe as well, the Muslims, we believe the speech of Allah is not created. They say, we say Isa is just one of the attributes of the Father. So you see, then that's what the Jahmiyyah and the Mu'tazila, they say, oh, to refute the Christians, we're going to say the Quran is created. You see, and then they say if you establish attributes of Allah, it means you are doing shirk. That's why the Mu'tazili, they have 5 principles, and the first principle is Tawheed. And that Tawheed is to deny the attributes. And they used to call themselves Ahlul Tawheed. They say if you establish, all of this came because of the Greek influence and their debate with the Christians, you see. So they took this argument. Obviously, like Ibn Taymiyyah last time I've told you, he says sometimes Kalimatullah, it means the speech of Allah, but sometimes, like the فَإِنَّمَا تَوَلُّوا فَثَمَّ وَجْهُ اللَّهِ, he says here Wajhullah doesn't mean the attribute of Allah, it means Qiblatullah, like Shafi'i and Mujahid said. He says sometimes in a verse, it's not the attribute that is intended, it is another meaning from the Arabic language. Likewise, Ibn Taymiyyah says Kalimatullah, when it is said the Quran is Kalamullah, here it means the attribute. But when we say Isa Kalimatullah, it means the result of Allah's Kalam. You see, sometimes Kalimatullah, it's not an attribute, it's a result, because Allah said Kun fayakun. Prophet Isa was born without father. So that's why Isa said lots of people like the Jahmiyyah nowadays, they're mistaken, because they believe, they take the verses out of their context. So obviously they took this. Even I've seen one of the Christian preacher debating a Muslim on YouTube. He was saying, like, you Muslims believe the Quran is not created, it is an attribute of Allah. We believe Isa alayhi salam is an attribute of the Father. It's his speech, like it's written in the Bible. At the beginning were the words, and then the words became flesh. So it's the same. If we believe one Father in different persons and manifestation, is just an attribute. And even Ibn Taymiyyah said in his book Al-Jawab al-Sahih liman badala din al-Masih, he said the Christians, they say Isa is the manifestation of Allah's speech, and the Holy Spirit is the manifestation of Allah's attribute of life. So this is, obviously when the Jahmiyyah started to debate with them, that's why, because they're mistaken. They influenced by the Greek philosophy, and they started to deny the attributes of Allah. And likewise, you see all the Sufis taking in Syria and Sham with Christians and other religions, all this Ibn Sina, then they started Al-Farabi, they've taken their stuff from the philosophers, denying the existence of the angels, the existence of hell, paradise. And then it went into the Sufis. So now we're going to see, some of the explanations, you see the word for word the same explanation as a Christian. If you debate any Trinitarian, speak to him, say, explain me the Trinity, I don't understand. One essence present in three persons, how is it possible? What does it mean? One of the person is speaking to the other, and that's still the same time one is prostrating to the other, asking him questions, and you say that's still one essence. I can't understand, I exist myself, I can't imagine myself having two different existences speaking to each other. That's two beings, that's not one being in three persons. What does it mean? The Christians are going to say, oh, they have this example, like the ice, it exists into air, it exists into water and snow. That's famous, known in debates, and you find it. The Sufi have exactly the same explanation as for the relation between the creator and the creation. Abdul Karim Jili, who is a well-known Sufi of the Qadiri, he has his book, Insan Kamil, in which he defends Shaitan as well, which is strange. He says he's only cursed up to the day of judgment. On the day of judgment, Shaitan will be forgiven, and actually he was a great wali of Allah. But that's another story. Very strange book, Al-Insan al-Kamil. He said even Plato in hellfire, he will have the status of a qutb, of a great saint. He said people of Zahra call him Kafir Plato, but for us he will have a great status. And that's a strange book, praising Iblis, but that's for the people of Wahdatul-Wujood, it's normal. Praising Pharaoh, praising Iblis, praising Plato is normal, because they're the founders of their religions, you see. So Ahmad ibn Ajibah, he's got a book. You see, he's a great Shazili scholar. Ibn Ajibah has got tafsir. He's like 12, 15 volumes tafsir. He's well-known Sufi, Ibn Ajibah of the Darqawi Shazili group. He's got a book, Futuhatir Ilahiyah, has been translated into English basic research. See, Deobandi are selling them, so that's why we're addressing this to them. Have you read this book, what it contains? That some verse, if we have time at the end, he said, Ana ma'budi, I am my object of worship. He said when the Sufi reaches a level, he says, Ana ma'budi, I am my object of worship. And there's many others, this horrifying stuff in this book. But first, I wanted the similarities between the Christian and page 270. So Ibn Ajibah, who is a well-known Shazili Sufi, he is saying in his book, Futuhat Ilahiyah, meaning he has this opening from Allah, that they have this fat opening from Allah, the ilham. He's quoting Abdul Karim Jili, a Qadiri Sufi. You see, well-known, I like told you. He's saying page 270 of the basic research, existence is, for example, nothing but snow. And you are its water that gushes out. Meaning the creation is snow, and Allah is the water that gushes out from it. So this, to explain Tawheed, Wahdatul-Wujood, this is the example they give. Snow is nothing but water in our realization. They say snow is only water. But in wisdom, the Sharia confirm it. So he said, in reality, the creation is, snow is only water, you see. So, but because the Sharia, then they have, why we follow the Sharia? He said because the Sharia, out of respect towards Allah, we have to respect the Sharia. But in reality, it doesn't exist. So this is the same example given by the Christian. The question, I'm asking Mumtazul Haq and all the others, Deobandi, who are selling these books. Did the Prophet ﷺ give this example? Did any Sahabi, any scholar from the Salaf or gave this example to explain Aqidah? This is a Christian Greek philosophical explanation. No. Ashraf Ali Thanvi, he tries to explain Wahdatul-Wujood. And you see, because they have to give examples because people ask them questions, but how to explain it to the people. He writes in his Malfuzat, volume number 1, Malfuzat 286. So, volume 1, 286. Just a quick read in Urdu. So, because they don't ask us of misquoting, 286. ओके एक मौलवी साहब ने अर्ज किया कि ज़ुहूर और हुलूल में क्या फ़र्क है। फरमाया जैसे सूरत का अक्स के आईने में उसका ज़ुहूर है ना कि हुलूल, कि इंसान के एक ज़ुहूर इंसान में हुलूल के लिए नहीं होता। सूफिया की ऐसी मिसालें हैं जो नादानों को शुबह हुलूल का होता है। So saying we don't, you see the difference between ज़ुहूर and hulul. You see we don't believe in hulul, that the essence of Allah enters the human being. We believe in ज़ुहूर, it appears, manifest in the human being. And he said, Maulvi asked me, what is, क्या फ़र्क है ज़ुहूर और हुलूल में? What is the difference between the creed of hulul, incarnation, and the creed of ज़ुहूर, manifestation, appearance? He said, the difference is like the ज़ुहूर is सूरत का अक्स अपने आईने में, सूरत का अक्स के आईने में, meaning like the form you see in the mirror, this is a ज़ुहूर, this is a manifestation of yourself. It doesn't mean you enter your form, but this is your own image in the mirror. So he's giving this example. And he said, obviously he's quoting from Jalaluddin Rumi and other poems after, but this is the example they give. They give the example of the shadow or the image in the mirror. He said the creation is like the image in the mirror of Allah. It doesn't mean Allah entered His image, but it is just to explain, but it's very complete. You see, then like the Trinitarians, they struggle to explain it. Likewise, they struggle to explain it, so they're giving examples to understand. So they said, Allah's appearance in the appearing in the human. He says it's like His image in the mirror. Okay. Obviously, it's not taken from any hadith, Quran, Salaf. Okay. Now, I've taken this from a Christian webpage. How they, because Rahmatullah al-Hindi, he's well known, he's a Hanafi scholar, staunch Hanafi scholar. 200 years before he used to live in Mecca and others. He wrote a book, Izharul Haq. It's a well-known book, refuting Christians. Even Ahmad did that. When all the people who have started refuting Christians, they take, it's even translated, some parts of it into English, Manifestation of the Truth, Izharul Haq. And in it, Izharul Haq, he says, he quotes from another Shafi'i scholar, Al-Maqrizi, and he says some of the, in the chapter of the Trinity, of the, you see, in his book, Izharul Haq, Rahmatullah al-Hindi, Bab Rabi fi Ibtal Tathlis, meaning the 4th chapter in refutation of Trinity, he said that Al-Maqrizi in his book explained how the different sects of the Christian explain Trinity. And he said, quoting one example given by the Christians to explain Trinity, كَالظُّهُورُ سُورَةُ الْإِنسَانِ فِي الْمِرَاءَ, meaning like the appearance of the form of the human being in the mirror. So, Al-Maqrizi, who is quoted by Rahmatullah al-Hindi, he's saying the Christian, this is how they explain Trinity. The Father, the Son is the appearance of the Father in the mirror. And this is how Ashraf Ali Thanvi, Jalaluddin Rumi, they explained Wahdatul-Wujood. Same example given. So this is quoted by Maqrizi. So I've researched on internet to have a direct quote from a Christian source. And I found that there was Saint Andrews of Crete. He used to live in Sham, Syria, and he used to live after the 7th century, meaning in the 1st century of Islam. And obviously, like I've told you, that's how the debate started. You see, they used to pay zimma and live there and debate Muslim, have dialogue. And he gave this example. Saint Andrews of Crete, he's one of the great scholar and saint of the 7th and after century of the Christian. He tried to explain Trinity, and this is how he explained. He said, but how can we comprehend this union of 3 persons in one God? It's a mystery and cannot be understood nor perfectly expressed in words. So like the Sufi, it's a mystery. They even say the Wahdatul-Wujood, it cannot be expressed in words, it can only be understood by thought, taste or feeling or whatever. They have also the same, the Sufis. So they say it cannot perfectly be expressed into words. Nevertheless, many holy theologians of the church have made a use of various comparisons in order as far as possible to help us understand something of this mystery. Imagine to yourself, says Andrew of Crete, a fine large mirror hanging out upon the walls of a room. Before it stands the use of exquisite form, looking at himself and beholding how well everything becomes him. So he said, let's take a room, there's a big mirror in the wall, there's a young beautiful man looking at himself. By this view, the youth obtains an exact image of himself. So that now there are two of the same figures present, one before the other in the mirror. As the youth sees the beauty of his image, he feels his heart inflamed with love for an object whose beauty inspires love. In this we notice three things, distinct one from another. First, the youth, who beholds himself in the mirror. Secondly, his image, which is the mirror. Thirdly, the love for himself, which is awakened in the youth by the consideration of the likeness produced. In like manner, we can in a measure make the mystery of the Holy Trinity comprehensible, says the same writer. As the Heavenly Father, you see, even they believe the Father in the heaven. Mumtazullah say, oh no, even the Christians, they say God is everywhere. Even the Christians, they say the Father in the heaven. But anyway. So it says, as the Heavenly Father has from all eternity beheld himself with the eyes of his spirit, in the mirror of his being, he produced therein the most perfect likeness of his divinity. And this image, meaning in the mirror, is the Son, who is there called a mirror without spot. Meaning his perfect image of God, a mirror without spot, the image, the form of the Father. And as the Father recognized this infinitely perfect likeness, he was inflamed with love for it, and this love is the Holy Ghost, meaning the Holy Spirit. So this is how St. Andrews of Crete, obviously living in Sham and debating Muslim, he gave this example, and few hundred years we find these examples in Bastawi of Jalaluddin Rumi and Ashraf Ali Thanvi. Same example given to explain their mystery. So their mystery is not solved, and their one is as well, after many centuries, the same. So we've seen the similarities between this and the Christian. The same examples, the same images given, the same. Now what is the opinion of the people of Wahdatul-Wujood, like Ibn Arabi, Abdul Karim Jili, of the Christians? They say that the Christians only went wrong because they restricted their belief to Isa. If they generalized to everyone, they said they would have been fine. This is what Abdul Karim Jili wrote, this is what Ibn Arabi wrote, and Mullah al-Qari, he said this is pure kufr. So now we're going to start Fusus al-Hikam. Okay, now inshallah we're going to try to go quickly on this. I'm going to shorten the saying of the Deobandi elders because many are present in my book, you can read them. Many of the other examples of Ashraf Ali Thanvi, Rashid Ahmad Gangohi. So I'm going to start now with Fusus al-Hikam, because this is one of the holiest book of the Sufis. Imdadullah Makki, in his book, you see he's got some of the Rasail. Kulliyat Imdadi, at the end there's a Risala in Farsi, Risala Wahdatul-Wujood. Obviously I can read Farsi, but I can read some terms in Arabic. He's saying, you see, Man sadaha asrar rububiyyah faqad kafara. He quoted, you see, the same speech of Abu Hamid Ghazali, whoever discloses the secret of rububiyyah has committed kufar. And then it has been translated and quoted in Urdu. Basically, he also says in this Risala, Fi Bayan Wahdatul-Wujood, that the ummah of the people of Tawheed, meaning for him, Wahdatul-Wujood, Muwahidin, that's how they call themselves. He said the Muwahidun have a great thanks to give to Ibn Arabi because he did a great stuff to propagate our Tawheed. So Imdadullah Makki, he's saying that he was one of Ibn Arabi who disclosed the most our religion and our Tawheed. So for them, Ibn Arabi, that's why they call him Sheikh Akbar. He is the most of the one who revealed it, explained it, gave example of it. And even Ashraf Ali Thanvi in his Malfuzat, volume 2, he has a story about Shaykh Muhyiddin ibn Arabi ka difa. In his Malfuzat 492, he said, एक सिलसिले में गुफ्तगू फरमा के हज़रत शेख मुहियुद्दीन इब्न अरबी की इबारत में तंगी ज़रूर है मगर मदलूल शरीयत के खिलाफ नहीं है. He said the ibarat of the text of Ibn Arabi is tang, meaning it's little bit difficult, लेकिन कोई मदलूल शरीयत के खिलाफ नहीं, but there's nothing against the Sharia. He says ना समझने की वजह से शेख को बहुत बदनाम किया. He said people didn't understood him, that's why he had a bad reputation. So he said I wrote a risala in which I explained some of the most shocking sayings from Ibn Arabi's book. खास अक़वाल की तौजी की है मगर मुझको तौजी में दुश्वारी पेश आए. Then he says, but by explaining it, you see his most horrible. For him it's not horrible, it's difficult. For us it's horrible. He said I had pain to explain these people, meaning he couldn't do it. And then he said غير مقلد, meaning that's how they call us, غير مقلد, and we're proud to be غير مقلد because taqlid is ignorance, is the animal, you see, who the Arab people, they used to wear them qalaid around them, meaning you see neck, and they used to carry them with when they took them for hajj, they used to have a rope around their necks, qalaid. Even that's what taqlid is, like you take a sheep and you pull him. That's where it comes from, taqlid, you see, from qalaid, and which is like even wearing pearls or this rope. So we're proud to be ghair muqallid, means we're not sheep you can just pull us, say this is haram halal without any dalil. But that's another topic of taqlid, because we're going to see, inshallah, what taqlid means. Taqlid is ignorance, is to treat people like sheep, to tell them to do something without any dalil. Even we're going to see, inshallah, because I've spoken about black magic, some of the books of fiqh, Fatwa Qazi Khan, it tells you if you have this and this disease, write Fatiha with urine or with blood and you will be cured. So if we accept your taqlid, if we were sheeps like you, we just accept fuqaha, mujtahid, we don't have ijtihad, they've got ijtihad. Take their books and do black magic. This is what this is what your taqlid is. Your books cursing Imam Shafi'i, telling the Sahaba, ghair faqih Abu Huraira. We're going to see it's another topic, but we're proud to be ghair muqallid. And he said ghair muqallid because he couldn't defend Ibn Arabi. He said ghair muqallid came and he said, and he mocked me saying, oh, you like to defend the Sufi of Shar al-Qurun. And he said, no, it's a little bit joke after. But that's even, Imdadullah Makki, he said, we have a great thanks to give to Ibn Arabi. He says there's no problem in Fusus Hikam and others, Sharif Ali Thanvi. So obviously they have read Fusus and Hikam. It's their favorite book. It's not a secretive book. It has many share of the Sufis. And Mullah al-Qari, Hanafi scholar, he's got a book against Fusus al-Hikam. It's known by two names. One of his name is Ibtal al-Qawl bi Wahdatul-Wujood, and it's got another name, Ar-Rad al-Qa'ilina bi Wahdatul-Wujood. And it's a specific refutation of Fusus al-Hikam. Even Taftazani, he's got a book refuting Fusus al-Hikam. So it's a widely read book, known to the scholars, and they have pointed, you see, it's not what I'm going to quote, all the examples I'm going to quote now, they're pointed by Mullah al-Qari. And he's going to say after quoting Ibn Arabi, this is pure kufr, this is the greatest kufr. Okay. So in Fusus al-Hikam, I've taken the English translation which is available online of Ashabila. So in the chapter of Harun, because that's how he divided his book by chapters of prophets, he spoke about, you see, when Prophet Musa alayhi salam went for 40 days, they started to worship the idols, and when he came back, he pulled the beard of his brother, and he said, then Harun, that's I'm going to quote, then Harun said to Musa, I was afraid that you would say you have caused division in the tribe of Israel, and you would cause of that division since the worship of the calf divided them. There were some of them who worshipped it, following it and imitating the Samiri, and there were some of them who refused to worship it until Musa returned to them, so they might question him regarding it. Harun was afraid that he would have that division between them attributed to him. So he said, I didn't want to divide them. And now Ibn Arabi says, Musa knew the matter better than Harun, because by his knowledge he knew the one the people of the calf worshipped. Since Allah decreed that only he would be worshipped, when Allah decrees something, it must occur. So he's saying that basically Musa knew the one the people of the calf worshipped. Meaning for him, according to Ibn Arabi, Musa understood that the people who worshipped the calf only worshipped Allah. And then he said, Allah decreed that only he would be worshipped. When Allah decrees something, it must occur. So you see, so they're going to use the verse present in the Quran, that Allah decreed that he only should be worshipped. Find the Arabic quote as well. So you see, this is one of the most problematic things in the Fusus al-Hikam. The worship of the idols and the worship of the calf being the worship of Allah according to Ibn Arabi, you see. فكان موسى أعلم من هارون لأنه علم ما عبده أصحاب العجل لعلمهم بأن الله قد قضى ألا يعبد إلا إياه ومن حكم الله بشيء إلا وقع. And then this is explanation Shar al-Jami, Abdurrahman al-Jami, Hanafi. He's got a famous book of Arabic, Sharmiyatul Amil, which is learned in Deobandi and Barelvi Madrasa. So he's well-known Hanafi, great scholar, Naqshbandi, famous scholar. He's got many books of Tasawwuf. He explains, so now the people saying it's a secret meaning, nobody knows what it means. Abdurrahman al-Jami is explaining it. He's not saying, Allah decreed he should only be worshipped. I don't know what it means. Only Ibn Arabi knows what it means. No, he's explaining it. He's going to explain it by the verse, قَالَ تَعْالَى وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّهِ. Meaning Allah said he has decreed that you should not worship him. Meaning the worship of the calf is only the worship of Allah for them. فَإِنَّ هَذَا الْقَضَى لَيْسَ مَقْصُورًا عَلَى الْحُكْمِ التَّكْلِيفِيِّ الْإِيجَابِي كَمَا قَصَرَ عَلَيْهِ أَهْلُ الظَّاهِرِ. So you see, the people of Zahir, meaning the normal people, us, the people following the apparent meaning, he said they limited the meaning to the hukm taklifi. Meaning, they said, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ means Allah ordered, he prescribed. Qadha here doesn't mean he made this obligatory. Because like Ibn Taymiyyah explained in his book Furqan, بَيْنَ أَوْلِيَاءِ الرَّحْمَنِ وَأَوْلِيَاءِ الشَّيْطَانِ, you see, sometimes like irada or qadha comes with two meanings. Sometimes it comes with the meaning of universal, and sometimes it comes with the shari meaning. You see, sometimes Allah say Allah wanted, but it's not his religious will. It's based on his wisdom, but he doesn't like it. You see, sometimes Allah likes it. So in both verses, it's different meaning. You see. Sometimes the word qadha, it comes with a universal meaning which doesn't imply Allah's love. Like in the verse, فَقَضَهُنَّ سَبْعَ سَمَوَاتِ فِي يَوْمَيْنِ, meaning Allah established the 7 heavens in 2 days. So here, فَقَضَهُنَّ, it doesn't mean Allah ordered. It means Allah decreed them, meaning He established them. Like in Surah Baqarah, Allah said, فَإِذَا قَضَى أَمْرًا فَإِنَّمَا يَقُولُ لَهُ كُنْ فَيَكُونُ. When Allah decrees a matter, He only says to it be, and it is. So when Allah decrees a matter, He says, be it is. Not this matter can be good or bad. But it doesn't mean Allah, when He creates this matter, He likes it or tells people to do it. This is the universal qadha kawni. Now you have the qadha shari. وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ. This is the religious shari qadha, meaning Allah ordered, He prescribed. But yet, you can decide not to do it. You can, like all the shaitan, Fir'aun, you can disobey Allah. So, but Abdurrahman Jami said, people of the Dhahir, they say it's only the qadha shari, taklifi, hukm taklifi jabi, meaning Allah ordered. But for us, no. For us, it also includes, he says after, he says for us, it's also, بل يعم الحكم التقديري أيضا. Meaning for us, it also includes the taqdiri hukm, meaning Allah decreed, meaning He predetermined that He only would be worshipped, meaning people who worship idols, they worshipped Allah. People who worship the calf, they worship Allah. People who worship the snakes, people worshipping the Vishnu, all their Hindus, baboons and whatever, they only worship Allah. So this is what he's saying. It includes hukm taqdiri, and it's not only him. Ismail Haqi, Turkish famous scholar, he's got his tafsir Ruhul Bayan. He also wrote about this verse. وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ مِنِي قَضَى حَكَمَا وَقَدَّرَ, meaning He prescribed and made it, predetermined it like this. And what Allah, obviously Ibn Arabi said, what Allah, if you say it means qaddara, what Allah has done qaddara, you can change it. So he say you can change. That's what Ibn Arabi says. This can only happen. So there is, Musa knew that they only worshipped Allah. So this is Ibn Arabi saying. Now we're going to see what Mullah al-Qari is saying to this. So the explanation that it's not even I'm just going to escape this. Even this one, Abdul Ghani Nablusi, he's saying the same. He's saying, yeah. How can worship of anyone else be conceived when Allah said that He only would be worshipped? So all explanators of Fusus Hilkam, they say this. It's not invented by the Salafi. We're not forcing, it's not our translation, we're not forcing the meaning. And he says the same about the worship of the idols. He says in the chapter of Nuh, when Nuh said, do not abandon your gods, do not abandon Wad, Suwa, Yaghuth, or Ya'uq, or Nasr, وَلَا تَذَرُونَ آلِهَتَكُمْ وَلَا تَذَرُونَ وَدًّا وَلَا سُوَاعًا وَلَا يَغُوثَ وَلَا يَعُوقَ وَنَسْرًا. He said, then meaning Ibn Arabi says, then they abandoned them ignorant of the truth. He said, the idol worshippers abandoned the idols ignorant of the truth, meaning they were ignorant by abandoning the idols, according to what they left of the idols. You see, this is Aisha Billay's translation. Then he says, Allah has an aspect in every worshipped thing. Whoever recognizes it, and whoever is ignorant of it is ignorant among the people of Muhammad. Your Lord decreed that you should worship only Him. That is the judgment of your Lord. Then he carries on, you see, explaining his, and he said at the end, مِمَّا خَطِيَتِهِمْ, because of their errors, Allah says, because of their errors they were drawn into the ocean. He says, in the seas of knowledge of Allah, which is perplexity among the men of Muhammad. Meaning, when Allah says they were drawn into the ocean, He says in the seas of knowledge of Allah. Astaghfirullah. When Allah says when they were put in fire, He says in the source of water. Allah said they were then put in fire. He says no, in the source of water. So this is their explanation. And Abdul Ghani Nablusi, he said as well, when he said your Lord has done qadha, that He said from eternity and predetermined, qaddara, meaning qadha for them it means qaddara. Allah has predetermined for all mukallif, meaning all people who have received religious obligation, meaning how can worship of other than Him be conceived then? He said when Allah has done qaddara, how can you conceive that anyone else can be worshipped? Abdul Karim Jini in his book Insan Kamil Just, he's going to say people who worshipped stars, they only worshipped Allah. He says, because the stars are the manifestation of His names, He is the reality by His essence. The sun is the manifestation of His name, Allah. And the moon is the manifestation of His name, Rahman. And then he carries on. And then he goes, at the end, he quotes this verse. They worship the star because of Al-Haq was the reality of the stars. This necessity that He was worshipped by essence. You see, so he also quotes this verse in his book to say that people who worship stars, they only worship Allah. Then you have Ismail Haqqi al-Effendi, great Turkish Sufi scholar. He's got a book here, Kernel of Kernel. He explained some of Ibn Arabi saying that you should accept all creeds, all religions, all creeds are right. You should not limit yourself to one belief. Ibn Arabi says this in Fususul Hikam Futuhat Makkiyah, in his two books. And Ismail Haqqi Bursevi, famous, well-known Turkish scholar, he's got big tafsir, Ruh al-Bayan. He explained, he said, this is the truth. And we're going to have some quotes. He's going to say, it's the truth, Allah's present. All religions are right, all creeds are right, and it's only people who are blind who can see the truth. So I'm just going to escape, because you can read a lot of, it's already, in my book on the Deobandi, I've quoted a lot from it. So Al-Jami in explaining this, he says, as well, about the idol worship in the chapter of Nuh, Abdurrahman Jami says, and creation was worshipped here by people who worshipped, but nothing was worshipped but Allah, but they did not know. Meaning, creation was worshipped, but nothing was worshipped but Allah. But in reality, it was only Allah who was worshipped by them. But they did not know. They thought they worshipped the calf. They thought they believed they worshipped the idols. But in fact, they only worshipped Allah. And they called, what they worship, they call them Manat, Lat, Uzza. And when he dies, the veil is taken off and he knows that he did not worship but Allah. It's because people are veiled, they see, their imagination makes them believe they have worshipped idols or they have worshipped the calf. Then Al-Jami carries on, when it's written in the seas of knowledge of Allah, they say they vanished in the witness of His ahadiyah. So you see, like I've told you, when Ibn Abi said they were drowned in the ocean of knowledge, in the seas of knowledge, he didn't say, I don't understand what it means. Maybe, no. He explained, this is their religion, this is their belief. They said they vanished in the witness of His ahadiyah. And when they were put into fire, he said, from the light of the radiation of His face, meaning of Allah's face, being the veils of their vessels. And when they were put in the source of, Ibn Arabi says they were put in the source of water, Abdurrahman Jami says the source of water of knowledge and witness of His ahadiyah. So I have the Arabic for all the Deobandis who are selling this book. They're all selling, all the Deobandi madrasa. This is, you see, the highest point of their religion. You see, Sheikh Al-Akbar, this is the greatest. It is like Ibn Taymiyyah for us, Sheikh al-Islam, one of the greatest scholars among the Salaf. For them, he's the greatest Sheikh. So in the chapter of Nuh, chapter of Adam, chapter Sheikh, this is. He said, قال رضي الله عنه في الفتوحات, meaning Ibn Arabi said in Futuhat, عبد المخلوق ها هنا من عبده وما عبد إلا الله, meaning the creation here worship, but they only worship Allah. من حيث لا يدري وسمى معبوده منات واللات والعزى وإذا مات وانكشف الغطاء علم أنه ما عبد إلا الله. So this is the clear explanation of Abdurrahman Jami. He quoted from Ibn Arabi's Futuhat. And then when he's speaking about when they were drawn, فَغَرِقُوا, he said, في بِحَارِ عِلْمِ بِاللَّهِ, he said, وَفَنَوْا فِي شُهُودِ أَهَدِيَتِهِ, they were drawn in the witness of Allah's ahadiyah. And when Ibn Arabi says, فِي عَيْنِ الْمَاءِ, he said, أي عين ما العلم وشهود أحديتي سبحانه. So this is pure kufr. Allah is telling, I'm punishing these people by drowning them into fire. They said no. They were drawn in the Allah's ocean of knowledge. They were drawn in the witness of His unity. What kufr is greater than this? even you see before this, he blamed Prophet Nuh for not doing proper da'wah, for not calling them properly. And Mullah al-Qari said, blaming a prophet is kufr on its own, whether you joke it, whatever you do it, whatever your intention is, blaming, mocking a prophet is kufr. And at the beginning, because Ibn Arabi likes to mock the prophet, because for them, you see, the prophets didn't do the real call, and it's the seal of the saints, Khatamul Awliya, he has the real knowledge, and all the prophets take their batini knowledge from the seal of the saints, who he believes he is the seal of the saint, of course. So he believes all the prophets take their batini knowledge from the emanation of himself. So he always likes to, in his Fusus al-Hikam, for those who have time to read fairy tales, or he claims this book was given to him by the Prophet Muhammad SAW, by the way, as well. So this is they like to diminish the Prophet, degrade the Prophet. So he's saying, no, didn't call, if he had called them like this and that, they would have answered. He didn't make his call clear to them. That's why they didn't reply to him. So Mullah al-Qari, what he says in his book, Ibtal al-Qawl bi Wahdatul-Wujood, he says, because Mullah al-Qari, he's got a book explaining Ash-Shifa of Qadi Iyad. He's got Shar Shifa. And he says, I saw a quote from the book Ash-Shifa of Qadi Iyad containing a consensus on declaring kafir everyone who rejects a clear text of the book. So Qadi Iyad in Shifa Bihuquq Mustafa, he says whoever denies a clear verse of the Quran is a kafir. And he says, Allama ad-Dallaji said in his explanation of this book, meaning in his Shar Shifa, ad-Dallaji, he's a scholar, famous scholar, he has a Shar Shifa. And Allama ad-Dallaji said, explaining the saying of Qadi Iyad, he says, meaning, giving a meaning contrary to the clear meaning, like some Sufis interpreted his speech concerning the people of Nuh, and because of their errors they were drawn and put into fire. They interpreted this as they were drawn in the love of Allah and entered fire with a nonsensical speech, turning the blame of them into the praise of them. So this is what ad-Dallaji wrote, and this is what Mullah al-Qari quoted as well in his book, I guess, Fusus al-Hikam. They said this is a pure kufr. There's consensus of scholars. Whoever opposes a clear verse of the Quran is kafir. And then he quoted this, that turning the blame of these disbelievers into their praise, this is pure kufr. Then Mullah al-Qari says, and it is not hidden that knowledge is an attribute of praise rather than love. So Mullah al-Qari, this is not a Salafi. He is saying this is pure kufr, the belief of that only the Kafirs worship. He quotes it from Fusus al-Hikam, the belief that only the other worshippers only worship Allah. He says this is pure kufr. Then because I don't want to make it too long now, because it's been 15. I'm just gonna quote directly some few statements of Ibn Arabi and what Mullah al-Qari said. Because for Hanafi Muta'assib, it is for them to reflect and to research. Why Mullah al-Qari said after Zani, they also called Ibn Arabi's Fusus Hikam pure kufr. In the chapter of Hud, like Ibn Arabi says, take care lest you be limited by a particular creed and deny what is other than it, so that a great blessing may pass by you. Indeed, knowledge of what the matter is based on may pass by you. So he said, Ibn Arabi, do not restrict by a particular creed. Make yourself a vessel for all the forms of belief. Surely Allah is vaster and greater than being content by one creed rather than another. So Allah says, wherever you turn, the face of Allah is there. This is not the real meaning of the verse. You see, this is their own. Because we've seen in the last lecture, it's Qiblatullah here, like Shafi'i explained. So there are only creeds and all directions are correct. Every correct being has a reward. Every rewarded thing is happy. Every happy is approved. So he's saying all the creeds are approved by Allah and they're all correct. He says all the creeds are correct and every correct thing has a reward. Every reward thing is happy. And every happy one is approved. Mardiyun. So I'm not going to read the Arabic. Just quickly. Abdurrahman al-Jami, he explains this saying of in his Sharh Fusus al-Hikam, page 266, and he's going to quote a poem of Ibn Arabi in his Futuhat Makkiyah to explain this. This poem in Arabic reads, Aqdul khalaiq fil ilah aqaidan wa na'taqidu jami'a ma taqadu. Meaning the creed of the creation, Aqdul khalaiq. Meaning the creed of the creation, fil ilah, meaning about the divinity, aqaidan, is divided into many creeds. You see, aqdul khalaq fil ilah aqaidan. Wa ana, meaning and I. Wa na'taqadu, i'taqadtu, meaning and I believe, jami'a ma i'taqadu. And I believe in all of what they believed. Meaning all, the Hindu believes this, the Chinese believes in this, the Muslim believe in this, the Jew believe in this, the Christian. I believe in all of what they have believed, the creation. So Abdurrahman al-Jami, to explain this, he quoted this poem of Ibn Arabi. And then Abdul Ghani Nablusi, he says as well, the religion of all the milal, meaning all the communities, accept them all. He says, be a vessel, meaning the absolute substance for all forms of belief, that the people from all religions believe about Allah. Be a vessel, accept all the beliefs of all religions believe about Allah. This is Abdul Ghani Nablusi. This is what he says. He said, kufr is only to restrict haqq in one creed. You have to accept all creeds to be a believer. This is Ismail Haqqi says the same. He said idol worshippers are only wrong because they restrict their belief to Allah. You should accept all. A kernel of the kernel. I mean, you can open this book, he says. He said if the Arif is really Arif, he cannot be stay tied to one form of belief. You see? He has to accept all forms of belief. So we're just going to quote now what Mullah al-Qari says about this. Mullah al-Qari says in his Ibtal al-Qawl bi Wahdatul-Wujood, page 129, he says, Ibn Arabi, his meaning Ibn Arabi, his disbelief is apparent as he claims to be all the different diversified creeds of different groups are all correct. He says his kufr is apparent. And the belief that they're all correct is the belief of the heretics, those who make everything permissible, the people of profanity, meaning ilhad, the people of Wahdatul-Wujood. So this is not my judgment, this is judgment Mullah al-Qari. Likewise, about Ibn Arabi's belief that he says all the prophets took their batini knowledge from the seal of the saints. He said Prophet saw one brick, and in the hadith he said, I'm the last brick in the line of the prophets. There was a house which was incomplete, and I was the last brick. There was a brick left, and I was the last brick to complete the house of prophethood. And he says likewise for the sainthood, he said the last of the saints sees two bricks, one of gold, one of silver, and he says the prophet only sees one because he didn't look with his deep eye. And his mission was not to disclose these secrets. The prophet, his aim is to tell the Sharia halal, haram, how to pray, how to fast. But it is the aim of the saints to teach the batini knowledge. So that's why he sees two bricks. So and then he says, all the prophets take the batini knowledge, the Sharia knowledge, they take it from Allah, halal, haram. But the batini knowledge, they take it from the emanation of the last of the saints, Khatamul Awliya. And he says the Khatamul Wali, he takes from the source from which the angel takes, and the angel takes from the source and then gives the halal and haram to prophets. But the last of the saints, he doesn't take from the angel, he takes from the source directly. So Mullah al-Qari, he says, the clear and intelligible kufr is not hidden in this for one possessing reason and understanding, because he, meaning Ibn Arabi, first claims to know the unseen by affirming this level of science and whatever. Then he places himself above the possessors of nobility, meaning the prophets. And there is a consensus that the entirety of science did not reach the level of one prophet. So he clearly contradicts the Sharia with his fruitless and corrupt claim. Then Mullah al-Qari says he claims to be independent from the prophet about the internal knowledge, al-batin. He says he takes it directly from the source, meaning from Allah. He's not dependent from the Prophet, and that the messengers and their seals are dependent upon him. They take from the divine emanation phase revealed to him. He says, I relieve all the batini stuff and it's emanate, then it emanates to the Prophet. The way he gave the example of the Prophet as a brick of clay in the wall of the pure Sharia, and he gave the example of two bricks, one of gold, another of silver, and the meaning of the silver brick is imitation of the Sharia of Muhammad outwardly, and the meaning of the golden brick is that he takes internal emanation, al-faiz al-batini, from the divine presence. Such words, so he explained his creed, that the last sense is two bricks, one of silver. The silver means he takes the Sharia from the Prophet, and the golden brick means he takes directly from the emanation of the divine presence. He says, such words amount to kufr about which no one doubts. None among the Jews, Christians, Sabian, Greek philosophers, Shakmanis, I don't know who they are, atheists, naturalists. So he said, what about to say about the Muslim groups among the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah and others from the Mu'tazila, Khariji, Shia and other groups of innovation? He says, no religion doubts about the Christians, Jews, Sabians. No one can doubt that these words of Ibn Arabi are kufr. And Abdurrahman al-Jami, like I've said, he explained this, that there's no problem. He said the Prophet did not look at this brick with his deep vision in this example, because he was not given the order to reveal the realities and the secrets, as was ordered the seal of the saints. Rather, the Prophet was ordered to hide them in the Sharia detailed laws. Okay, I'm just going to finish, inshallah, this lecture, because there's a lot, inshallah. I mean, in my Deobandi book, there are the quotes of the Deobandi elders, there's the quote of Ibn Arabi. I'm just going to finish now, inshallah, just 1 minute. I've quoted Mullah al-Qari how he said it's kufr. Sa' Taftazani. He has a book, I guess Ibn Arabi, Arad ala abatil kitab fusus al-hikam li Ibn Arabi. Meaning a refutation of the falsehood of the book Kitab al-Fusus of Ibn Arabi. I see, he said, rather this mulhid, meaning Ibn Arabi, denied the Lord of the universe as he claimed that the religion was not completed by Sayyid al-Bashar. He said the Prophet, meaning for them, the Prophet, like in the example of the two bricks, the Prophet didn't complete his mission. There was a place of completion left, meaning the Prophet didn't teach the batini knowledge. So he said this is a mulhid. He denies the Lord of the universe. Then he calls Ibn Arabi to be worse than Musaylama al-Kadhdhab by claiming that Khatam al-Awliya is superior to Khatam al-Anbiya. Taftazani, he quotes another Hanafi scholars, Aduddin al-Hanafi, he's got a book, Mawaqif, it's a famous Maturidi book, Al-Mawaqif, Shar Mawaqif. It's taught in almost all the Hanafi books. Aduddin al-Hanafi, he said, Aduddin al-Hanafi in his book, author of Shar al-Mawaqif, also described Fusus and Futuhat as pure kufr. So this is, and then Taftazani said, Ibn Arabi is not Muhyiddin, he's Mumituddin, the one who makes the religion dead. He's not the one who revives the religion. And he called him La'in, cursed. And he said defending Fir'aun is Kufr Shani', Abu min al-Kufr. He just, last line, he says, Ibn Arabi, he denied the Quran, he allows contradiction in the speech of the king, cancels the fundamentals of Islam, and became like Pharaoh and his people, disbelievers, denier, misguided, everything. May there be upon him and Pharaoh the curse of Allah, the angels and the world of humans. Amin, thumma amin. He says in his book that refuting Ibn Arabi is a greater jihad than the jihad against the worshippers of Egypt and Taghut. We say Amin, thumma amin. So it's just to call because the laymen, they don't believe in this. You see all the old elders, the youngsters, but I mean the old people. But the elders, the Maulanas, the leaders in the Khanqa this is their religion. And we call, we pray Allah and we call, obviously to protect the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'at, the Salafis, Ahlul Hadith from their filth, from what is in their book sold by them under the name of Islam. And obviously we call on to the Deobandi laymen to research for themselves, because you see, like I've told at the beginning, it's not a joke. You see, making mistake about Raful Yadayn, okay, it's matter of fiqh. You don't want to do Raful Yadayn, you don't want to shorten the prayers in travel, you don't want to gather the prayers into travel, you don't want to whatever fiqh. Okay, this is matter of difference fiqh, but this one is a matter of paradise and hell, you see. Having this belief. So we tell them to research. Like you research whatever you do, what career you're going to have, you research. But about your religion, you just accept the saying of your mashaykh. You just accept that saying without investigation. Like after Mullah al-Qari Hanafi, research this, and inshallah, may Allah make it easy.
Jazakallah khair to our brother Ali Hassan Khan for a beneficial talk and a detailed explanation of the creed of the Deoband. We've run out of time now, so the only thing that's left now is to call the adhan, and a few minutes left, and we're going to pray at 7 o'clock. Jazakallah khair. Subhanaka rabbil hamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.